Welcome to the Grand Review. This is the podcast where we do movie reviews and movie news. Every week we get together and kind of give you a good idea of what's worth your money, what's not, what's worth your time, and what's worth your soul. Turns out, not a Klondike bar. Found that out this week. Satan was like, nah, man, I can't. Even I feel bad about that deal. Anyway, so... I don't know. This is the latest we've ever recorded. I'm your host, the podcast wrangler himself, Garrett Ray, and joining me is the man who's all twisted up.
And I'm the irregular host.
The irregular host. It's Andy Delia.
Thank you, Garrett.
Well, Andy, welcome back once again.
Yes.
You had a break.
I had a break.
And now I thought, man, all right, great. You got to go on vacation. You got to be on a cruise ship, watch all the insanity that happens on those things. You'll come back refreshed, ready to go. Yep. And instead, you got assaulted at a trivia game and had your luggage lost.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then we're recording after 10 o'clock, so this is actually the latest we've ever recorded, so we are anything but fresh.
Well, we kind of had to because of your schedule this week. So
I'm a busy man.
Mercy. I know, seriously.
I'm so sorry.
I thought my schedule was hectic, man.
Next week is Deadpool, too, so that's going to be, there's a whole other thing of just figuring out how we're going to do that, because I'm on the road shooting a TV show, so it's a whole thing. But I'm excited to talk about tonight's movie. I'll be excited to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. So one way or another, dadgummit, we make it work.
Okay.
Because the Klondike bar, I didn't sell my soul for, but doing the show I did. So that's where we're at.
Doing the TV show you did?
No. Doing this show, the Grand Review. This was worth my soul. Every week we have to do this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
the
deal.
Klondike bar, no.
Yeah.
As much as I love those two, no, not worth it.
Yeah, my wife says she doesn't like them, and I don't understand that because I remember I didn't have one until I was 23, and I was like, I've been missing out on this.
That was a staple growing up in Pittsburgh. Like, those were constant.
My parents... Every now and then we would get Bluebell as a treat, and everything else was like, we're not spending money on ice cream. You kids aren't even nice enough to deserve ice cream, and that's how we grew up.
Oh,
no, it's okay. They were right. Well, this week, if you've never joined us on the show before, basically how this works is we do a spoiler-free review right up front, let you know what's going on with this week's movie, and then once we kind of give you our recommendation, whether or not it's worth your time, we'll go ahead and jump into spoilers, talk a little bit more in depth about it.
Right.
And after that, we'll do the news. So that's basically how it works. This week, we are talking about Twister 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's right. It's...
I thought you were going to say Twister 2, the Electric Twist.
No, I should have thought about that. Sorry, that's not the name of the movie. Let me get it right.
No, it's
Twisters. It's Twister 2, Back in the Habit. It's Twisters. It's Twisters week. Are you excited, Andy?
Sure. At least this was better than Sister Act 2.
Don't you dare speak more of Back in the Habit. It's one of the best subtitles ever.
I don't think I've ever watched the entire thing.
Oh, I've never seen any of the Sister Act movies, but that title has stuck in my brain forever, and I will give them credit. That's a really good one.
Well,
it's a good pun.
What's the title for there is a third one in the works.
I got to look this up now because I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, because
Pad with information while I do that.
Whoopi Goldberg keeps reassuring people that yes, Sister Act 3 is in the works and it's coming and it's going straight to Disney Plus.
If you had to guess, what would you title it?
Kicking the Habit?
You are 100% correct.
Are you serious?
Not kidding. No, that's what it says. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I see my talent's being wasted as like a movie theater manager, I swear.
You should be naming sequels.
Seriously, like bad sequels to boot.
I know. Oh no, that means you can't name the sequel to G-Force, because as we all know, that is the greatest movie ever made, and the sequel will only be better.
What about K-Force?
Kangaroo Force? Is that what's happening? The G stand for gerbil. So what does K stand for? Kicking the Habit.
I don't know. I just came up with that. At 10:30 at night, that's the best I can do. Okay.
Yeah. See, the thing is, here in about 30 minutes. Like right now, I'm starting to get into the feel, the groove of the show, right? In 30 minutes, I'm going to really wake up because 11 o'clock each night, my brain fires up like a V8.
This is past my bedtime.
Yeah, this is where I normally am like, all right, time to get to work. This is where I shine. So this will either be some people's favorite episode of me so far,
or
their least favorite.
Yeah, they're going to fast forward through this real fast.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's try to stay on topic then.
Okay.
Here's the review. We're talking about Twisters.
Twisters.
Now, this movie, just to give you a little bit of backstory, if you don't know about it, it's a disaster film, according to Wikipedia, and it's directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who's directed a couple other movies over the last 15 years or so, but I didn't recognize any of them. And it stars...
They're not important.
Yeah. It stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos, and other people. I got 3 in and I was like, yeah, those are the only ones anyone cares about from this movie, probably. But yeah, it's about trying to disrupt a tornado.
Yeah.
With science.
Yeah.
A commendable thing to try to do in the real world. In a movie, it seems kind of silly.
That's an understatement.
So yeah, basically that's what it's about. It's edited by Terrelyn A. Shropshire, and she edited this, and I point that out because I have a thought on the editing that I'd like to get to into spoilers. So
okay,
I will direct that to the director and Terrelyn. It's not a criticism; it's just a question.
Oh, okay.
It might be a criticism.
I'm sure it's going to end up
question.
being criticism since you know everything about filmmaking.
That's me. I know everything. I've claimed that many times.
Yes.
All right. Well, Andy, we always start with your opinion. So what did you think of Twisters?
I thought it was okay at best.
Okay.
I don't like disaster films. I make that very well known.
It's funny because I was sitting there watching it going, I don't know if I would classify this necessarily as a disaster film. And then I looked on Wikipedia and I was wrong because it's literally the first sentence. Twisters is a 2024 American disaster film.
Comedy more than anything, but and wait till we get to the spoilers. I get the one scene that just I rolled my eyes at and almost wanted to choke the screen.
I can't say what I think that scene might be because there's many that I think could have been that one.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling I'm going to feel very differently about it than you did.
Yeah. The science behind it is interesting, and like the radar stuff that they were coming up with and how to track and 3D image these things and study them. That's kind of fascinating. But when you take that and throw Hollywood into it, and when it becomes less of a National Geographic film and just fantasy, that's when you lose me. Gotcha. Because it's just not that interesting to me. And I didn't like the first one when it came out, and everybody made a big deal about that one too. That was directed by Jean Dupont, the guy that made Speed, and had Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. And actually, one of the most underrated actresses from the 80s, Jamie Gertz, had
Jamie Gertz. I know that name. I'm trying to remember.
She had a small role in that. But
yeah, Jamie Gertz is great.
And also Philip Seymour.
She's in a show called The Neighbors. And it's they move into this sub. My in-laws introduced me to it. They move into this section, subdivision, and it's entirely filled out with aliens pretending to be humans. It's very funny.
Oh, really?
It got canceled after like 2 seasons, and it is a darn shame.
It's like Firefly.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so funny.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway,
I told you I'm waking
Philip
up.
Seymour Hoffman was in the first one too.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And I wasn't crazy about that. I don't like films like Today After Tomorrow or 2012 or even going back to the 70s when I grew up, like Earthquake, The Towering Inferno, Poseidon Adventure. I'm just not a fan of these things.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they're just not realistic, in my opinion. And this falls into that category too. It's very overblown and over special effected. And that's probably the best thing I could put for that.
Did you feel that way about the first one as well?
I thought the first one was just boring.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just didn't care for it that much.
I haven't seen the first one since 6th grade. So it's been 3-4 days for me. And the first one, they were trying to get all of the little flying sensor balls up into the tornado, right? That was the main push of the movie.
Yeah,
and now they're
how to
just
study
like,
them.
Yeah.
Now they're how to destroy them. Yeah,
I do love destroying things.
Yeah, but this Watching them like study that and stuff, like I said, that was kind of interesting, but for the most part, this is okay. And not, I don't say a complete waste of time. I've seen worse.
Yeah.
But
If.
which we're not going to live down with my ex-wife.
No, never.
For
but that's why I bring it up, is so that she can be mad at you every week.
Yeah, okay.
Same reason I bring up G-Force is to upset you as much as possible.
It doesn't upset me because I'm one of the few people beside you that's actually sat through
That's
that.
true, yeah.
And I knew what you were talking about. I think that was our common bond when we first started being friends.
I think it was. It was just an
because
offhand joke that was like, oh, G-Force is the best movie of all time.
Yeah. Just like I always torment the staff here about Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, gosh.
Because that's the best bad movie ever.
It
really
I need to
is.
go back and revisit it because I think we talked about this on the show.
Yeah,
I
we
saw
did.
bits and pieces of it on TV as a child, and it freaked me out and made me really, really, really... I already hated clowns because of It, so that was why. Like the 90s Tim Curry It it just scarred my brain in ways I'll never unpack.
Or that you need therapy for.
No. I can't afford therapy, so it scarred my brain in ways I'll never unpack.
Hey, we're just sticking with that. But I mean, if disaster films and everything are you're in just unbelievable scenarios, to be honest, this is probably the film for you.
Okay. All right. So I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it a lot.
No,
I
you
had a
don't.
lot of
Why
fun.
be afraid of your opinion? That's
Because
your
I
opinion.
respect you, Andy, and
It's-
when I
it's
disagree
wrong,
with you,
but it's your opinion.
you know,
No,
what?
I'm
Respect
just
just dropped
kidding.
a little bit there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no. We knew we were going to run into this eventually.
It was gonna
because
happen.
Most of the time, like you and I are on the same page for
Yeah.
something, and this was why I knew that this afternoon. Before I even came into this, that this is the one Garrett's probably going to love this, and I'm going to hate it.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate it, but it's just not for me. It's not my kind of film.
And that's fine. You know, it's
Right.
fine. We all have tastes. Some people like to have busts of animals they've shot up on their walls. Some people like to have no windows. Some people like to have all kinds of crazy things, and you don't like to have fun. So
That's not true.
I know, but come on, I worked a lot for that one. I'm just gonna chuckle.
Yeah, you did.
Just see the wheels turning in my brain,
I'm
loading
just
like
not
Windows
gonna.
95.
I'm not gonna reward you for the reaction that you want.
That's fine. Do it on the internet, everybody. Find us Grand Review Pod. Just write ha 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 in the comments.
Yeah.
I'll know what it means.
Andy, you're an idiot for not liking this film. Yeah, okay.
Either
thank
one
you.
of those is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree that I don't think this is going to win any awards for screenwriting or anything like that. But that's not a dig at it necessarily, because you want to see tornadoes, and there are so many tornadoes in this. They just keep coming.
Too many.
I agree, but then I'm like, well, I don't really care about the people enough. So yeah, go back to the tornado stuff. Like, that's more fun. And to your point about it being kind of over VFX and stuff. The first one was an advancement in VFX. It was a movie that pushed the industry forward and did a lot of really, really, really new stuff with how they did those disaster things. I don't necessarily know much about the technology or the VFX and the special effects that they used on that, because those are different. VFX is computer generated. Special effects is in camera on set. Blood squibs, things like that. So I don't know what the mixture was. I don't know what all this was doing to push the industry forward, if it was. They shot it on film. I know that, and you can tell. I think that you can really there's just something about the texture of it and the dynamic range that you look at it, and it just is like those storm clouds probably are mostly added in post, but the film stock would have had that dynamic range, because you can see it in the rest of the image. Just like those that you can still see in the shadows, and there's this grain over the top of it that's natural and feels right. And I really appreciated that. I thought it looked great. It looked less. It's very CGI
It
heavy.
looked
It's a
less
lot
fake.
of VFX, but because of the film, it felt like an older style movie to me, and that made it more fun.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That being said, sometimes it felt like it was trying to get out of showing you things. And so this is
explain how so. Like, I'm curious on that.
There are places in here where I think, and this is personal taste. I'm not saying the director and the editor don't know what they're doing. They had a vision, they executed it.
Right.
I'm not complaining. But there were moments where like the camera would pan up. That's wrong. Tilt up. You pan left and right. You never pan up. I hate when people do that, and then I just did it. Where they would tilt up from someone's face to the storm, and you feel like you would want to sit there for a minute and just go, whoa. But the camera would tilt up, and you go, whoa, oh, it's gone. it just cuts away from stuff, and there's a couple specific moments that I'll talk about in spoilers where it did that, and I felt like.
Do you think this is the same thing as Horizons, where they kind of edited stuff for time?
No, I don't think it is. Not really. I think they were trying to keep pace up.
Okay.
And I don't think it's necessarily to the detriment of the movie. I think it's just a different decision I would have made in the edit bay, because I like to look at long lingering shots probably more than the average bear.
Okay.
And so I think that was like the one thing where I was like, just a little bit more of this. The characters overall, and we'll get into this in spoilers and stuff, but it's not really a character movie. It's a disaster movie.
Yeah.
It's not a deep introspective look.
The people are secondary.
Right.
Although I did like the humanistic thing about this film. That part I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And watching, I guess, just from what we've gone through here recently, and watching just small towns being destroyed and seeing the aftermath of that and seeing how that affects people.
Yeah.
That was actually much more interesting than the tornadoes were.
Yeah. I loved when they got into that stuff. And I liked that was kind of a major narrative thrust. And this isn't really spoilers, but there is that narrative thrust that it's about, the chase and the, getting the data versus how actually helping people and where's the line. And so it does ask some questions that I think are interesting. And it's like, but then, without that thing happening, could we have done this thing in the end? And that's the technical term. So I like that. I think the main cast of characters is fun and they're fun in a way that that movies from the 90s were. It wasn't like, we're not going to flesh everyone out. They are kind of caricatures, and that's okay.
They're very two-dimensional.
Yeah, but it's okay because there's just enough of them that you're like, that's fine. That's what they do. They're there to give us information and be funny sometimes.
Yeah, because honestly, there's not that many characters.
I mean, the two that really matter are Kate and what was his name? Javi matters, and then Tyler Owens. So Tyler Owens is Glenn Powell. What are your thoughts on Glenn Powell in this? Because you're kind of iffy on him, right? So
yeah, it's the same. Honestly, it's the same character, just about they did in Top Gun Maverick, just with a lot more scenes
and maybe a little bit more humanity, just a little bit.
And supposedly that he studied meteorology because one too many kicks in the head.
Well, I mean, the weatherman's normally wrong, so that tracks.
That's true.
Yeah, he's definitely doing the Glenn Powell face most of the time, and so I didn't necessarily enjoy him as much as I did in The Hitman.
Right,
but that being said,
I would agree with that.
But kind of in the same way that Will Smith is, he's just got that
he
charm
does
to him.
The charisma and the swagger and the strut. Yeah, that's honestly. Well, I know this why my wife wanted to go see this, so there's no secret about that one.
I'm pretty sure that's what my wife wanted to go see this too, but she's nice enough to just not tell me.
I mean, at least he's a likable.
He is, and he grew on me a little bit because of The Hitman, and so when we get to this one, when he's not doing the I'm charming thing, I like him a lot. And there are moments of that in this. The moment, there's a moment where he's looking at kind of the aftermath of one of these situations, and you see him, acknowledging that, like, okay, Kate's the one who, needs to take the lead on this stuff. And there's something there. The man can perform. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
You just pull back on the frat boy smile a little bit, and we'll be
Then
golden.
just less of these cardboard characters that he does, but
Yeah. Also, it would help if he was uglier. I'd feel better about him. Let's not ignore the elephant in the room.
okay.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I liked it. Overall, I think it's an easy recommend. Yeah, if you like disaster movies.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely going to be your kind of film.
There's a bunch of tornadoes. There's a bunch of like, whoa, now the tornado's mixed with fire and so on and so forth. But funny enough, and you, so you're rolling your eyes.
Yep.
But aside from that, like them getting in there's a pool scene and there's a couple other things. Sorry, I almost spoiled some stuff. Funny enough, I feel like this is more grounded than most disaster movies. I mean, just it's smaller scale disasters.
Maybe.
I mean, compared to 2012, I mean, I can believe anything in this movie more than the limo driving away from the world crumbling in 2012. So
yeah,
I mean, the bar's kind of low.
Or even the end of like the original Twister was, this G5 tornado that's surrounding Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton, and they're holding on to a pipe with a belt, and the shack that they're in has torn apart.
They're just on the pipe,
and they're just on that pipe, and they're still nope.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's ridiculous.
And I know we're not going to these films for realism. I get that. These are entertainment. These are shut your brain off, and that's fine. Like there's stuff that I do like that's like this. Mm-hmm. This is not one of these genres that I care for, to be honest.
Well, I applaud you for sitting through it and for finding small bits of joy. I heard you laugh a couple times.
Well, there was a couple of scenes that I thought were funny, and then there were a couple of scenes that I thought were funny that were not meant to be funny. So that's I think was more of my laughter was. And I don't think I can talk about them until we get to the spoilers.
Yeah, me too. I think overall we've given people a pretty good idea of what this is. It's a fun popcorn flick. It's a little science fiction-y, but it's got enough science stuff in there. You're like, ooh, that's neat. That's a neat little thing.
Yeah.
And it looks beautiful. There's no doubt about that. And I think Daisy Edgar Jones for the most part is good. There's one scene we'll talk about where I'm like. She performed the choices she made perfectly. I don't know if I liked the choices, but that is again kind of a taste thing. Right. And I don't necessarily know that it was wrong. I probably would have wanted to see it other ways and maybe would have gone with that take anyway. I don't know. But it was anyway. Go watch it if you like disaster movies.
Yes.
If you think they're stupid, you're going to be disappointed in this. It's as Wikipedia tells me, Twisters is a 2024 American disaster film. So that is what it is.
And it came from the internet that said it has to be correct. That has to be true.
It's true, yeah. I think there was a time where Wikipedia was used in such a way that people would mess with it just to mess with you. But now that everyone goes, no, you can't use Wikipedia for anything academic, it's actually more accurate. because people are like, well, there's no fun in messing up people's dissertations.
Right.
Okay, well let's get into spoilers.
Okay,
what scene did you roll your eyes at? I know you want to talk about it.
The movie theater scene was complete. They're all in that building, and the building's falling apart, but yet the projector still runs. No, I know that from the tornado that we went through here recently. That storm comes anywhere near the theater, the power is the first thing to go.
Yep.
So that's not happening. And the other thing is when the screen is torn out and the back of the theater is gone and people are still holding on to movie theater chairs, like 1950 chairs, and there's like a couple of people do fly out, yes, but I think they had to do that because somebody like me is sitting there go, no, this is ridiculous.
Right. They're like, all right, fine, we'll kill a couple people for you crotchety curmudgeons in the back.
Thank you. And then the whole refinery thing with that whole thing blowing up and then fire twisters. No, I just.
But those happen.
it just looks so ridiculous.
But they happen. I've seen real photos of like there are places where some big explosion happens and that their fuel is still burning. There's lots of oxygen. The air is moving fast. There's this constant supply of oxygen. That can happen.
Okay,
it does look ridiculous, and
it does.
And I would have said the same thing if I hadn't seen actual photos of these things.
Okay,
they may have been AI generated. I just realized.
Huh?
They may have been AI generated. I just realized that can fire twisters happen? We're doing it live. Fire tornadoes, also known as fire whirls or fire nados, are a rare weather phenomenon that occurs during a wildfire. So in a wildfire, lots of burning fuel.
There was no wildfire.
No,
in
but
this,
if a place that's full of oil catches on fire, there's a lot of it's literally fuel.
Okay,
it's crude oil, which means it may not burn as well. Just like this show is a crude facsimile of something resembling a podcast that people listen to, but it does still burn. and we may light ourselves on fire by the end of this conversation.
No, this is not like Vietnam War and putting people in the flames.
Yeah, I suppose we should avoid self-immolation.
Yes, and then the other thing too, with the whole like choking out a tornado, and it just immediately, as soon as it took effect, it dissipates and everything is nice and beautiful. And no,
there would still be a storm and
yes,
rain. And
there would.
I mean, especially since they made rain, so it's probably still rain,
right? Because wasn't that the whole purpose?
Well, no, but the polymer soaks up the moisture, so that would stop the rain. If in theory, if this makes any sort of scientific sense,
okay,
I think it might make sense because if it soaks up the water, how's it going to rain?
Okay.
They're using the same stuff that's in diapers. Have you ever ripped apart a diaper before by accident?
No.
I have. I was pulling one out.
I don't want to.
I was changing my little brother's diapers, and we just were like, we have no concept of how expensive these things are. Let's rip one open and see what's inside. So we ripped one open and cost my parents about $300. And and we just like put it in our hand and it's just a bunch of these little beads. It's like Orbeez almost.
Oh, okay.
And so we put that underwater and it just goes whoop, and turns blue, which was gross because we were like, it looks like we peed in our own hands. And so I've seen that stuff is crazy absorbent. It really, really does. And then they talk about they have other agents. They never say what they are, but other things to help like increase the amount of moisture it can soak up.
Yeah, movie effects.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's any realism in that idea. I imagine not. I imagine that's some crazy cockamamie, stuff.
Right.
But I was on board with it. I was like, that sounds right. in disaster movie logic.
To some extent, I was too. I'm like, well, that seems logical. Okay, so maybe there is a way to make this happen and get rid of tornadoes, but
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't advise anyone goes out and tries this in real life.
No,
for sure. But
the scene that I really laughed at was the part in the hotel where the couple are sitting there complaining about their hotel room, and then and then the wife is like, "Oh, well, you hear the sirens. It's not a real tornado. It's only." And then the tornado alarm goes flying through the window.
Room.
Oh my God, there's a tornado! And they start. I'm like. And then
that is the most realistic thing in the movie. That is Oklahoma people to a T.
I'm sure it is. And then when their car gets swept up in the thing, and I'm like,
they're just like, pass me the sweet tea. This be over in a minute.
I was like, yeah, serves you right.
Yeah. I liked that whole scene. I liked, I liked how every time she's in one of these situations, she loses something and she loses someone, and she's constantly dealing with that guilt, and that's kind of pushing her to go ahead and try it. And
right.
And I also like, and I thought about this in the moment. I like how at the end of the day, she made the decision to put herself in harm's way to save those people. Yeah. She didn't drag anyone else into it. It was her. And it was her going, this is my idea. If it's going to go wrong, I'm not going to lose anyone else because of me, but I might be able to save everyone. And it's just her.
It's amazing that it's not her truck and she knows how to operate it perfectly.
Okay, so that's one of my main issues with this. Not that specifically, but like this whole time, she's been almost a no nonsense person. She's kind of a, she's got some sass to her,
right?
But Then when she gets in his truck for the first time, she just starts hitting all the buttons like a 4-year-old, and you're like, why? You're not like this. This makes no sense for your character at all. It was so confusing. I was just like, they just did that. I guess I'll know why later. And then at the end,
to make that scene at the end more believable.
Yeah, but she could have done that it could have been like he was loading something in the back into the cells or whatever, and he tells her to hit something, and she hits the wrong button and fires it off by his face, and he comes in and he goes, I'm going to show you how this panel works, because you darn near took my head off. And then you cut away, and then it's like, oh, of course, now she knows how it works because she did it wrong and then had learned it, and now she's got it. But instead, she's just like, I'm pressing buttons. It's like watching that mole in G-Force hitting buttons in his thing. You're like, none of that makes any sense.
And then the other thing I did like was the one character, Javi. Thank you. That he ends up working for real estate people that are profiting off of tornado accidents and trying to scoop up land real cheap, and I'm sure sell it at a super high profit.
Oh, absolutely. In today's economy, of course.
Yeah. And there is showing the difference between those two teams, between Tyler's team and Javi's team, and especially when they're going to that town has been devastated. And at first you think they're no much different because Tyler's team is selling T-shirts and coffee mugs, and profiting off of that,
and they're more obnoxious about it the whole time,
right? But then when you find out they're doing that to solely raise money to get food for these people, and the other Javi's team is just doing it to find out like what cash price they can offer these people, and justifying by, well, he's going to help them by having them carry on their lives and they can move forward. But he's also
trying to get the data so that they can learn how to stop it and prevent it.
And that's realistic. I get that, and that's the part of the film that I did like.
Yeah. That when I said that like it asked some real questions, that's exactly what I'm thinking about, because and I've run into this many times where it's like I could go and try to pitch, stuff to Netflix and Disney and whatever. Like I've written things. I've got, everyone's written things. It doesn't mean anything in Hollywood.
I haven't.
But there is a certain point where if you have funding for something that is, wow, it almost always comes at the cost of your integrity. But then at the same time, if no one does that, if no one can get that funding and go and study and advance the thing, then it just never happens either. And in this movie, without the data from Stormpar, they couldn't have adjusted their model and done what they did and gotten it prepared, and she could not have saved the people in that town.
Right.
And I think that's the thing is, Javi was doing it for the right reasons and then justified to himself partnering with Riggs, because how else was he going to get the funding to do this? And so... who's right? I don't know. It's a tough question.
Yeah, that's it, and it's an ethical and moral thing.
Yeah. And it's wrapped up in this in a nice little bow, and it's like, well, we did it, and now I'm out, and we're all partners, and everything's fine. Yay!
Yeah.
But in the real life, the lawsuits Javi would be facing for leaving, without any notice and stuff. That'd be bad.
Yeah, and probably proprietary information. And
handing that over. Oh, yeah, that man's going to jail.
Yeah.
Sorry, Javi.
Because I'm sure he signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So, that's all.
Yeah. I liked his, I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy that, he's the guy who has a sparkling personality.
What, Glenn Powell?
It's David Is it David Cornsweet as Scott? Hold on a second. Is that guy Superman? The one who is riding with Javi and tells him to stop the truck.
Oh.
And he's like, I don't care about the people. Is that? I think that might be David Cornsweet. That's the new Superman.
Yeah.
That I did not recognize him.
Well, because he looks different than the man in cape that can fly.
The Clark Kent thing would work.
Yes.
It would work on me. Yeah, no, I had no idea. I liked him a lot. I thought, he sold that character
Yeah,
perfectly, and like the
company
little,
man.
yeah, and the little smile he does when he's like, this guy makes up for it with the sparkling personality. He just gives that like fake smile, and
Yeah.
like it's great. It totally sets him up immediately, and I like that stuff. Like they don't belabor the point with explaining who any of these people are.
Right.
You get enough of an idea, and then you're off to the races.
Yep.
And
Yeah, because like this film does not really need character development.
no, except for Kate, and that's just a little bit, just a little. Everyone else pretty much is the same. I mean, Tyler doesn't learn anything by the end of it. Kate learns to face her fears. Sorry, you don't face your fears; you ride them. Is it bad that I love that line? It's cheesy, but like it's fun. It's a fun cheesy. It's not roll your eyes because there's no way anyone thought that was a good idea. You can feel the screenwriter going, all right, that's for the trailer.
Yeah.
But it works in the moment. And I think that in the trailer, somehow it sounds more like you don't face your fears, you ride them. But in the actual movie, it's a character moment for him, and it actually works. And there's stuff.
Well,
like that.
and that's part of that Glenn Powell's character too, so it fits perfectly.
Yeah. He does those moments well. I wish I was on board with every bit of his performance. But it's that Top Gun, frat boy smile, and maybe it's just because that's the first thing I saw him in. So maybe I'd feel different about him if that was not what I saw. But I didn't feel that way in The Hitman. So
no, because The Hitman had more of a substance to it, and it was a much more funner film. Like I know that's not good English, but
no, that was very well American. But well, when he's Ron, he kind of has that. So I guess he was kind of doing the similar thing in there. It just made sense for Ron.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. What do you think of Kathy Cooper, Kate's mother?
Mara Tierney.
Yeah, Mara Tierney.
I was like, she's still alive?
Apparently. Oh, she was in The Iron Claw recently.
That's true. She was in that. I forgot that.
That's where I knew her from. She was in Beautiful Boy, which I really liked. I thought that one was really good.
Insomnia too. That's one that stands out for me.
Haven't seen that.
What a shock.
I liked Anthony Ramos. Sorry. Anthony,
I always refer to him as Uznavi.
Wow.
Because, he was Javi, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a film that came out last summer called In the Heights, musical, and it's actually not a bad film.
It's a musical, so I disagree, but go ahead.
It's not a bad musical. At least it's a little bit more on the realistic side because it just deals with the people from the Heights section of New York City and the Brooklyn Heights.
His name is Uznavi.
His name is Uznavi in that, which actually is U.S. Navy backwards.
Wait, what?
That's what the characters like, because that's the first thing his parents saw when they were coming to America was the U.S. Navy, and so that's how his name was Uznavi.
That's funny, man.
And so I always refer to him as Uznavi. And I think it's funny that one of the things I see during the pre-shows of the theaters, that Nuvi thing that Maria Menounos hosts that I can't stand.
Whoever that is. I don't know.
At one point, she was like the most downloadable woman on the internet, like about 20 years ago.
Okay. So 3 people downloaded one photo of her at 5 kilobits per second over a 3-day period.
It's a pre-show, but they had something on the interviews with the people from Twisters, and he said that he falls in movie theaters a lot. Like he always has to see a movie twice.
Yeah.
Because he gets really comfortable and falls asleep. And I was like, yes, somebody that has the same problem that I do sometimes. Thank you.
My people, I found them.
I know.
I liked Anthony Ramos. I thought he did a good job, and I he's the character who I think has the most growth through the movie.
Yeah.
And so that I liked when he was on screen. He's a very natural actor. I think
he's good, like comedic diversion too.
That too, yeah. And I liked just being able to go back and forth between the two different teams and the kind of
This movie was dichotomies that they have.
Yeah, and the movie is a lot more lighthearted than I was expecting. I was expecting Day After Tomorrow vibes, like that's what I was expecting. And the original Twisters is not really a comedy movie in the way that this one is either.
It's a lot more serious than this one was, and I think they realized that going with the more lighthearted approach was the way to go with this, and that's a good choice.
It sets them apart from it, so they're not doing the same thing.
Yeah,
it still allows. It's got those the little references like the robots that go up in the air. I can't remember what the canister was called.
I can't either, and it's not that important.
No, I have to know. Dorothy. It's called Dorothy.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there's those little references to that. No cow flying through the air, unfortunately, but there is a horse who full on bodies someone in a rodeo, and that's pretty great. Oh my gosh, have you ever had a horse run directly at you?
No,
it's horrifying. They're huge. And when you're riding them, you're like, I can manage this thing, right? No.
When you're on the ground.
Those things can just one kick to the head and your head's gone. I mean, they'll just squish your face into the back of your skull.
Yeah, which is the other part of the Glenn Powell's character where he's an ex-rodeo star that got one too many kick to the heads.
That's probably one.
I'm going to college and then study meteorology with the two brain cells that you have left from being in a rodeo.
Again, the accuracy of weathermen is not a prime factor in their getting hired. So
yeah, but it's not like he was saying he was going to be a weatherman.
Maybe that's what he thought was going to happen. He just ended up with a YouTube channel.
Okay.
I mean, we both thought we'd had great plans for our lives, and now here we are doing this podcast.
This was your idea.
I know, but you said yes to it. So which one of us is dumber?
Oh, okay. Touche. This is the last time we're doing this one this late.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Deadpool may happen late.
3 a.m. we'll be doing that. I'm after we're done with here, go watching Long Legs.
Oh, are you? Yeah, I want to see that.
Probably not.
I'm not going to have time probably in the next couple of weeks to see it.
But I'm definitely watching that.
Okay, well, we definitely need to do a catch up on that one.
Okay.
Too. Okay, so there were some shots that I wanted to talk about and some little things. So one that sticks out in my head was when Javi and Scott, I think the other guy, Superman, when they are trying to get ahead of Tyler and Kate, and there's the refinery fire going on. There's a moment where Javi's truck gets tipped over, and the camera is placed on the hood, and you're with them as the truck moves, and you can kind of see through the back window the world kind of, but it really, really took me almost the entirety of that shot to register that's what was happening. And I think the reason why is because it should have been wider. Well, if it was wider, you would have seen on the sides and you would have felt the world tilt a little more.
The quick cuts on that were a little disorienting.
Yeah, so that's the scene especially where I was just going, no, let me focus on it for a little bit more. And I know that having started to do very, very, very basic 3D rendering, having to render those shots at all, nightmare. Oh my gosh, nightmare. Right. I mean, the physics simulations that you're doing, the extra stuff you're doing to fix the errors in the physics simulations, the amount of layers of renders you have to do, shadow passes, this pass, that pass. Nightmare.
Okay.
But if you're going to do it... If you're going to do it all, I mean, do it. Let me look at it,
Well, that might have been done just for dramatic purposes, too, and to give you that disorienting effect that they were experiencing going through that.
And it does do that. It does do that. And
so could you really say that's a criticism, then?
For me, yes.
For me, no.
In a small, ever so small way, there were just moments where I'm like, leave the camera a little wider for just not even just half a second. I'm not talking about sitting on a shot for 3 minutes. I'm talking half a second, just long enough for me to go, oh, there's the walls of the outside of the tornado, and oh gosh, it's huge. Because sometimes the scale gets lost in the quick cuts. And so I think that's why sometimes I'm like, not as bought into. I mean, it still looks dangerous, but I'm not as bought into the danger as I could be if I could see it just like the swath of it.
Well, and that's where that MTV editing kind of annoys me sometimes.
Yeah. I've noticed when I edit, I normally tend towards a slower pace of cuts than most of the stuff that I watch, and so I have to actually.
Good for you. I'm happy for you for that.
There's times where it's good, and then there's times where it's like if I just chopped this up a little bit more, it would have a pace and feel right. And editing is such a weird thing because you can do something and go, well, that makes more sense, and then you watch it and you're like, this is bad. Right. This is bad. It makes it makes sense and it's bad. So I need it to not make sense and feel right. And editing is a very, very weird process.
I did like the sound of this film.
I thought sometimes it was lacking.
See, that didn't bother me.
I have a specific moment.
Okay.
I have a specific moment.
Okay, do tell.
There is a moment. Tyler, his legs are trapped under a piece of brr, and you're like, oh no, Tyler's going to die. And then a water tower starts to come over. And this huge 100-foot tall metal leg breaks off of the water tower. And it goes, nee, poop. And it doesn't make a noise when it hits the ground, really. Like it should have been clang, 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 dong, ding, dong. Like it should have been louder.
The sound of the tornado was overpowering that, and
but it wasn't. It wasn't that loud.
I'm trying to make excuses here where I'm actually on your side about this.
Devil's advocate,
right?
What?
Yes.
Did he get you for more than a Klondike bar?
You have no idea. That's how I ended up working at this theater.
Fair enough. Yeah, it was just little moments like that where there was stuff where I'm like I never got the feeling of listening to the freight train. Like it never sounded like a freight train to me. It sounded windy for sure, but I never like when they're under the underpass at the beginning of the movie and everyone's dying. First off, the first guy who dies just is like, all right, bye. Like, he does not matter at all. No, someone goes, where is he? And then they never mention him again.
Yeah, you saw him for like 2 seconds. And then, so once that scene come up at the beginning, too, I'm like, okay, he's going to die. He's going to die. I knew exactly where that scene was headed.
Yeah.
Even before it played out.
And I think they kind of spoil that a little bit in the trailers. So like,
see, I didn't watch that many trailers for this thing.
I only saw
avoided
one.
them.
I only saw one, and her I don't chase anymore. And last time I got it wrong in the moment, and I'm like, all right, everyone died.
Yeah.
I mean, why else would you be upset? Because then you'd just be like, reset, let's go again. All right, take two. Which is what we do every time an actor doesn't die during a shot on a commercial. And when they die, we just recast. But I'm totally kidding. I have the utmost respect for actors, and we treat them well.
Yes,
but I do sometimes forget to schedule lunch. But it's okay. My wife always makes sure that she slaps me in the back of the head and goes, "We have to feed people," and I'm like, right. When I'm on set, I can almost, if I have like just a couple of fruit snacks in my pocket, I can work 12 hours and I don't even think about eating.
I need those because my blood sugar drops.
I need them because I'm unhealthy. It's the same reason.
Oh, okay. Not that like
I had a joke and it left in the middle of me saying it, and then I just came out with unhealthy. Don't you hate when that happens?
Yeah.
When you're about to say the funniest thing of your life. And
so Hannah is kind of like the union delegate on the set for when you work.
Yes, except people respect her.
Oh, okay. And she's not a mobster. You're going to be sleeping on the couch for that one.
If you ever notice that I walk with a limp, it might be because I'm missing a kneecap because I didn't do the dishes. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm a wonderful housewife. But yeah, it's stuff like that where it was just like the impact of it. Sometimes I was just wanting a little bit more of the ooh, and the visuals are doing that for sure. But sometimes the sound, I'm not saying the sound was bad. I'm just saying sometimes I wanted a little bit more oomph in the mix. Okay. And maybe you're right. Maybe it is because it was supposed to be like, well, in a tornado, this sound would be muffled because the would be, blowing your ears out. And you can't, look, if you blow directly across a mic and it sounds like what a microphone sounds like in the wind, this is going to be awful, but bear with me. It completely peaks and it sounds awful, and it's you can't have that sound in the theater. That'd be bad. It needs to sound like, it's got to sound like wind
tunnel
in our brains. So maybe that, you have a point that it explains why those sounds would be quieter than you'd expect. But in the theater, sitting in there, even if I know that's right, it doesn't feel right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, as a viewer.
That's a Garrett logic thing.
Logic? Logic has nothing to do with it.
And you're the walking representation of that.
Why would you say something so hurtful yet so true?
Getting back at you for the one comment you made of me, the one podcast.
The one I don't think there's any evidence left of that. So
you'll probably be cutting this out too.
No. I don't have to protect your reputation. Just mine.
Yeah, people know I'm a jerk already.
No. You're a wonderful human being with terrible taste in movies. You don't underestimate. No, I'm so kidding. I agree with you.
You
90%
haven't even
of the
seen
time.
half of the stuff that I have.
Yeah, because I have better taste. I'm just digging a hole for myself here, and I don't know.
Yeah, you are. And I'm going to give you the shovel to do it with too.
Okay, let's talk about just kind of in general, the destruction. What stuff pulled you out of it? What, like you mentioned the refinery.
The refinery one. Part of like the climax at the end.
Boot.
Yeah.
Whatever boot Tyler was wearing that allowed him to hang on to that while a full person is getting sucked up by a tornado. I want those boots because they will survive longer than I do.
Even the twin scene was a little. It just seemed very hokey to me.
Yeah, but it was like hokey, and the people doing the YouTube channel were hokey about it, so it didn't really bother me too much, I guess. I don't know. I was on board at that point, I think. So the twins thing didn't really bother me too much.
Even the opening sequences with the deaths and everything, and you're going to hang on to a rail of an underpass of a bridge that's going to say that's...
Well, and she also, right before that, she goes, underpasses are the worst in a tornado.
Right,
it's like,
but yet, then why did you do it?
Yeah, everyone died because of that, and man, I tell you what, first off, I have no idea how her boyfriend actually got knocked off of her. I heard a clang, but I saw nothing clang him.
Right, so that's...
Did I miss that?
No.
Okay, so it just goes bong for no reason.
Yep.
Put that sound with the big metal pipe. You have the sound effect. Put it with the thing. He just disappears. The most brutal death in this, as far as I'm concerned, is when little Miss Sabrina the Teenage Witch actress. I can't remember her actual name. But when
Melissa Joan Hart?
No. It's I'm looking through the Kiernan Shipka, the blonde girl that dies at the beginning. She was Sabrina the Teenage Witch in the reboot that Netflix did. Anyway, she's trying her darndest. She was also in Mad Men. She was Don Draper's daughter.
See, that's a show I still need to see.
Mad Men's, I never finished it actually.
Because I like John Hamm.
John Hamm's fantastic in it.
Yeah.
It is a series of debauchery and sadness, though.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So definitely got to see it.
Yeah, I know that's your favorite thing. You love sad debauchery. How was the cruise? No, I'm just kidding. But when she's trying to climb up that hill so bad, and first off, there's grass 2 feet to the right of her. That gives you purchase where a smooth concrete slab wouldn't. You're an idiot. But she doesn't die because she gets sucked away by the wind. She dies because a full-on just clump of death throws itself at her, and she goes, boom, she's gone. And I was like, oh my gosh. And
it happened so fast.
I know.
Too.
She's just not there anymore. You're like, that's a clump of disaster right there that took her out.
Yeah.
Wow. She's gone. Man, Miley Cyrus must have been here. Came in like a wrecking ball. Is that still a fun reference?
It is.
Okay, cool. I'm hip with the kids.
I'm not a kid.
Oh gosh. It's Paul Scheer shows up in this. Paul Scheer, who he's done bit parts on The Office and Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Because when he popped on screen, I was like, oh, who is that? I know him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Move your car. What's going on? He's very funny. He does that perfectly. And then just the Who's paying for Glenn Powell just putting 2 augers into the airport tarmac? Like
somebody is.
That man's he's gotta be paying for that. How are you gonna feed people if you're always repairing tarmac every time you don't want to move your car?
Right.
I'm just saying, maybe he's not as altruistic as we thought. Yeah, it's fun though. I don't know. It's
okay.
It doesn't have the same like kind of lasting impact in my brain that A Quiet Place does in the way that the story unfolds. A Quiet Place has that human story that I was still thinking about for a while. I'm gonna pretty quickly, I think, dump this one for the most part out of my head. It does make me want to go back and rewatch the first one and also watch some supplementary content about the VFX work and the special effects work they did on that original because I've read a little bit about it, and I saw a video that was suggested to me that is like 17 minutes long that just goes over all of the effect stuff they did. And that fascinates me, and I'd love to learn more about that.
Oh, yeah. No, that stuff always did, too.
Man, bring back the DVD bonus feature. Bring it back. Bring back the deluxe set in a leather box, Lord of the Rings with 1,900 hours of content.
Oh, my
bring
God.
It back.
That's too much.
Oh, I wanted it so bad as a child. I still have never gotten it. I've still never gotten like the full with all of the special bonus features, but most of them are on YouTube now, so there's that.
Okay.
I guess I could save myself $3,000 there because they're really expensive to buy.
I just have a copy of like the extended versions of each of them, and I still have the Blu-rays.
I got the 4K Blu-rays that have like the regular and extended version when that came out, so I did manage to get those. And Hannah and I haven't gotten to those because I had to get her through Indiana Jones first.
No, okay.
So, and some other things.
Had she gotten through Indiana Jones?
We've gone. I think she's seen Kingdom of the Crystal Skull before, so we did the first 3.
Yeah, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. She's not missing anything.
Yes, but no. But okay, hear me out. It was 2008. I was 13. Yeah? No. I don't know. I was a child.
Okay.
I watched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I walked out of it going, that was a disappointment. But that opening scene is so good.
You are. I will agree with you on that. That first 20 minutes in Area 51 is the best part. The rest of it, just don't even watch.
But I also like the chase through downtown where the KGB are chasing after him and Mutt, and they're going through the library, and he's giving reading tips to the kids, and they go like, if you want to be a good archaeologist, you got to get out of the library. And then they brrr. It's like that's classic Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah, but
then there is sword fighting, doing the Van Damme splits with a cactus smacking Shia LaBeouf.
And even with like Kate Blanchett is like the bad guy in that too, which I do like her.
I do too.
But then there's Borderlands coming out too. That
she's also the scariest part of Lord of the Rings. So her in my head, she's the perfect villain actress because she's terrifying to me. The first time I saw Galadriel go, "I will be great and terrible," I was like, "Yes, you are." But yeah, this movie's all right.
Yeah,
it's fun. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
I don't fully agree with you, but that's okay.
I wouldn't punch someone in the face for saying, "Hey, you want to watch this?" and going, "Yeah, it's fine." Like I'll have fun and I'll enjoy it.
Like I really wasn't sure what this thing was going to do because normally, statistically, when there's a long time between sequels, the sequels don't do well.
Yeah,
and this is kind of proving that wrong. But honestly, most people, like even the staff that I've told her, well, there's a first one. This is a set. Really? There's a first one?
Oh, really? They have no idea.
So I think people
But the trailer
don't remember.
makes a big deal out of saying Twister and then waiting and then going, but there's an S at the end.
Yeah.
Like it's obviously a sequel.
So I think people are just taking this as this is the first one or they have forgotten about the other one.
Yeah.
And it's done really well today.
And which
is great.
Maybe I just haven't seen the first one recently enough, but I feel like it doesn't fall into the same trap as all of the other legacy sequels we've gotten. It is just like, yeah, it's a movie about tornadoes. It's not about, we're going to bring back, these characters and, Bill Paxton and
Helen Hunt.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. Both of them have passed away. Helen Hunt's still here.
She is.
For now. That's not a threat. I'm just saying we don't know what's coming tomorrow. None of us are promised the day that comes after today, which is tomorrow. But I had already said tomorrow, so I didn't want to say tomorrow again. So I tried to.
You just want to
I rephrased the Bible, but I made it
film.
longer. Yeah. Like the day after tomorrow. Don't you even? Oh, come on. Dennis Quaid. It's great. The wolves show up in New York. That's so cool.
No, it's not.
They get chased by ice. The ice knows where they are.
We saw that in Frozen Empire.
Yeah, but in that one, it was because of, spooky ghosts. This one was just like nature wants to kill you, and nothing has ever been truer, especially in Australia. I'm sorry for the aggressive finger.
Then why is Paul Hogan still alive?
You just have to be tougher than nature.
Oh, okay.
And, he's got a knife. He's got a real knife. What was I saying? Do you want to talk about news?
Yeah. Let's all the deaths that have happened the last couple of days.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with that then. And this one, normally I don't get too upset about these things. Like people have very, very personal reactions to movie stars dying. Bob Newhart passed away today as we record this.
That was sad.
And in his honor, my wife and I sat down and watched the skit that he did that's called "Stop It." And a woman comes in and she I don't want to spoil it, but basically just type in Bob Newhart "Stop It" or Bob Newhart therapy. Yeah. It's about 6 minutes long, and it is one of my favorite skits of all time.
And he was one of the best cameos on Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Like every time he was on, he was great because he does that deadpan humor just perfectly.
And where most people, if they stuttered and kind of stepped over their lines in the way that Bob Newhart did, you go like, "Come on, man! Won't you? What did you not learn your lines?" He does it, and it's so natural and it feels so right, and he uses it to enhance the joke.
Right.
And I actually listened to a book that was about Bob Newhart, and he spoke some in it, and yeah, he's a fascinating man, and he was a great comic actor.
Yeah,
and the best part of Elf. For sure.
Elf?
Elf.
Oh,
not Alf. No, not Alf. There is no best part of Alf.
That was another death. The kid from Alf died.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. That was because I was seeing an article on like all the deaths recently, and then somebody commented that, "Oh, well, you forgot the kid from Alf." And I was like, well, does that really count?
Well, I mean, for a certain subsect of humanity, people who hate cats specifically, Alf was an important milestone in television representation.
But Newhart was like throughout my childhood and my teenage years, because I remember the 70s sitcom where he was a psychiatrist, and then in the 80s where he ran like the bed and breakfast with the best secondary characters ever. Larry, my brother Daryl, and my other brother Daryl.
Yep.
And like all the other characters in that show were just as good as he was, because like there was the maid that was like the material girl, and her boyfriend, which was Peter Scolari from Bosom Buddies, that I really liked too. And it's funny that when Bosom Buddies came out, because I remember when this show first came out, it was Tom Hanks, and that's how he got his start. But even before that, he did a horror film called He Knows You're Alone. And that's how he got the role on Bosom Buddies.
Oh, really?
And then everybody was saying that Peter Scolari was going to be the one that went far and was going to have this huge career.
Yep.
Hey, surprise.
It was Tom Hanks.
It was Tom Hanks.
Probably for good reason.
Yeah.
Peter Scolari, what else did he do, man? He was... I think he was mostly just in TV. He didn't really break into...
Yeah.
Well, he did some films. So Camp Nowhere, Sorority Boys, The Polar Express. He was Billy the Lonely Boy. That's where I saw his face, in that Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen him in stuff. But yeah, Tom Hanks definitely, arguably, allegedly, the bigger star.
Yes.
But rest in peace, Bob Newhart. You will definitely be missed.
Definitely.
Some things that will not be missed. The Halo TV series was canceled by Paramount Plus after 2 seasons. And I bring this up.
I never even watched it.
Me either. Master Chief is one of those landmark characters in gaming. And I didn't grow up with an affinity for Halo in the same way that other people do. There are people who are nuts for it. But even I, having only played through 1 or 2 of the games in my life and going, they're all right. They're a little floaty in the controls, not a big fan. Mm-hmm. in the first season, like first episode, they have Master Chief take off his helmet, and it's a disgrace. And I think that this ought to show these freaking morons who run these shows you respect the source material. Okay? If you make A Wrinkle in Time and you allow someone to take this magical Pegasus creature in the book and turn it into a piece of lettuce, no one's respecting you. I'm sorry. You get no respect.
Yeah, I purposely stayed away from that film for a reason.
Oh, it makes me so angry. But yeah, Halo's canceled. Also canceled, Horizon.
Yeah, which we had a problem with here at the theater because we already had tickets sold for
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And
those two people were very upset.
It was more than two people.
Was it really?
Yeah. And how our software is set up for that kind of thing is, we have to refund it. We have to contact them and tell them, hey, sorry, the movie's not coming out and we're going to get your money refunded to you. But then even after that, we can't delete it out of our system.
Really?
Which prevents me from putting in another show and showtime in that slot. So I have to contact the people that run the software company to help me fix it. And they tell me, yeah, we can't really fix it either. All we can do is just move it to another screen. But they move it to screen 10, which we don't have.
Yeah.
And so at least that way I can still program.
I thought you were going to say, I had to contact the people at the software company, and they're like, we can't do anything about it. Kevin Costner's in here. He's got a gun. We've tried to get him to leave.
He's got that rifle friend that he had in the movie.
Yeah, but he's just sitting there with it over his shoulder looking menacingly at us, so we have to keep showing Horizon.
Yeah, but honestly, when that news came down, it was not that much of a shock.
It wasn't a shock.
I wasn't surprised.
I wasn't either, but I was disappointed.
To an extent, I was too, because that's been our most polarizing movie that we've watched and done the podcasting for, I think.
Yeah.
In the fact that we liked it, but every criticism we have points to a bad movie.
Right. And I think they're all valid criticisms. I don't think we were being harsh. We were rooting for it.
Right.
But it's bad, but I liked it. I wanted to see how it worked out, but it's not. If I knew this was just going to go straight to streaming and they'd still finish it,
we wouldn't have bothered.
Well, maybe we wouldn't have bothered with the theater. But what I'm saying is, if I knew right now it's not going to theaters, but they will be releasing it as a series or whatever, I'd be like, oh, great, they can add all the other stuff back in, and I would like it.
And that's my hope.
They won't. I'm calling it now. That's not. They didn't finish filming the fourth one. It's not done. No one's going to dump any more money into this. It flopped now.
Other than
the name
Costner.
of it, right? But he's presumably already spent all his money on it, and the name is so soiled because it did badly, and it did badly because it's a 3-hour movie
that goes nowhere.
That goes nowhere and is a Western, and is going to confuse the general audience about what was the point of what I just did, and so the word of mouth isn't there for it, even though it's got moments of brilliance in it.
Right.
And so Chapter 2 is no longer being released in theaters on August 16th. And then there are no plans for putting Horizon Chapter 2 on Max. So the theatrical plans remain uncertain. There's no plans currently that have been announced to put it on streaming. The first one, Chapter 1, is on VOD now.
Yeah,
so you can purchase it. But
I wouldn't recommend paying $20 to rent it, though.
No, I wouldn't either. And there's whispers around the Hollywood water cooler, according to JoBlo.com, that say Chapter 2 could get a day and date release in theaters and on digital, but that's just gonna bork all of the sales to the movie theater, because the old people that want to watch this are sitting at home going, my knees hurt and I don't really feel like going to the theater. Get me a beer. I'm gonna watch it here on the couch.
Well, no exhibitor is going to carry it.
Exactly. It's the same thing that we saw with Warner Brothers doing this before.
Right.
But then also, we're never going to get this story finished.
The only, I think, caveats to that was the fourth Matrix film. Like, people did show up in the theater for that, even though that was another same day and date that they released it on the streaming platform.
But we were also still closer to that pandemic mindset. So
by that Christmas, it was starting to lighten up, definitely a lot more.
Okay.
But like the Clint Eastwood film Cry Macho that did that, nobody went to the theaters to see that. That was all, everybody just stayed at home and watched that.
And I think the audience for this unfortunately, and I
Well, stay
lament
home.
this, but the audience for this is a home audience.
Yeah,
they just are, and it's partially because of it's trying to be this giant sweeping epic, and like trying to
But
get my
there's
dad
holes
to come
in
and
it.
sit in this theater for 3 hours 4 times in a row just to see one story. He wouldn't do that. He'd say, "No, just
Right.
get it on. I'll get it on VHS when it comes out." And I'd be
Right.
like, "Dad, that was like 30 years ago. We don't use VHS anymore. Now we use digital download." And he'd be like, "What's that?" And so it's just disappointing because it has all those holes, and Horizon Chapter 1 as a movie is not a good movie. But there's a story there that's really interesting, and some characters I wanted to see.
There's 5 stories there that are interesting.
There are 5 stories there that are interesting, and 17 that are okay. And and yeah, I don't think we will ever see the end of this now. I don't think we'll ever get it completed. It will be stuck in limbo with the world's most frustrating final 5 minutes of all time.
Costner's going to really have to start doing some other things that make up the losses from this thing.
He's going to have to make the Postman 2 to make up the money.
Oh,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
no.
Sorry, Waterworld 2.
That one I'm actually a little bit more open
Actually,
to.
that would be nice. Yeah.
Problem is Dennis Hopper's dead now, too. So that's
Who would be a good Dennis Hopper replacement?
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, but he already did it. So who would be another unhinged? Not Jim Carrey.
No.
You know what? Let's just have it be an animated character. We can get Chris Pratt. That'll work. It works for
Yeah,
everyone else.
Garfield worked so well.
Yeah. How did the numbers do on Garfield? By the way, was it not good?
It had a good opening weekend, then died really fast. And
Just
then,
like my prospects in life. Good opening weekend. Everyone was very excited. After that, they got to know me a little bit, and they went, "This kid is just bored."
Hey, I'm still sticking with you.
That's true, and I appreciate it.
And this is how
we
many,
all make bad decisions.
How many podcasts are we into now?
This is episode 14.
I'm still here.
We're a fortnight into this if we did one a day.
Oh, okay.
It felt like we did 14 in a day the first time when we recorded 3 back to
Yeah,
back.
because we were a little bit behind and we were getting the ball rolling on this thing.
Yeah.
So
had to have a big drop at the beginning so people could binge if they wanted to. Not that anyone would want to, but I'm counting on finding the specific type of wonderful, wonderful people who've lost their mind to listen to this.
and to give us money.
Brought to you by us right now, but later by someone else. Okay, so Ralph Macchio is working on a new Karate Kid movie with Jackie Chan.
Yeah, that was originally supposed to come out for Christmas.
Oh, it was?
And it got pushed to next summer.
Okay.
Which is, I think that's the smarter move because over all those films, they've all been summer releases, every one of them.
Yeah.
And moving that to Christmas, that wasn't a good idea.
What if it's set at Christmas? What if Shane Black directed this?
No. Still need to have it in summer. Die Hard was.
That's true. That's true. You have to admit, though, it is kind of nice that I knew that Shane Black does all his stuff at Christmas. There's a little bit of film knowledge rattling up around in here.
Well, so does Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? Is that also at Christmas? It's been a while since I've seen that.
I can't remember what Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is.
The one with Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. A really good film that he directed and wrote.
I can't remember.
But didn't get a fair shake at the theaters, in my opinion.
Neither did The Nice Guys.
Nice Guys was really good too.
Predators,
The Predator,
the Predator,
Like the fourth
it was
one?
it was the one that had the child. It was the child
Oh,
Predator.
and it was autistic.
Yeah, the child Predator.
No,
That's what it was
sucked.
called, right?
That was terrible. Yeah.
Just read right past that one. Was it not called the Child Predator?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't. That was Michael Jackson and E.T. Alien versus Predator.
Oof.
I saw that on a T-shirt, and that will always stick with me because I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's very funny.
Shouldn't mention that next April when the Michael Jackson film comes out. But
That man had, look, he had a lot of things thrust upon him in his childhood that probably messed him up, and I can totally... you're right. That was bad phrasing. I see the raised eyebrows, and I understand now what I've said. But
good, you find the fault in your mistakes, so that's good. That's good.
and I can admit I do them, but I will never apologize or go back on it.
Okay, good.
But yeah, the man also did some messed up stuff himself. I'm pretty sure. And, so, that biography. There's no way it's not going to be a glowing thing about him. But
Well, they showed us stuff for it in Vegas.
oh, really?
And
This is much more interesting than Karate Kid.
yeah, no, they showed us about 10 minutes
Really?
from the film, and it wasn't even finished yet at that point.
Well, yeah, it was only 10 minutes long. That's not a feature-length film.
And it looks interesting. The question I have, is it going to be a puff piece on him, or is it going to tackle some of those hard questions that people have about Michael Jackson?
Absolutely not. Do you know why they were called the Jackson 5?
Why?
Because they had 5 different ways of killing you if you angered them. They were a mob. No, I'm just kidding. No, there's no way that's not a puff piece. There's no way. You don't, because the estate.
Bohemian Rhapsody ended up not being a puff piece about Freddie Mercury. I think it addressed his issues very well.
But his issues were very much painted in the light of this is because he was not allowed to be who he was. So they have that angle on it. And also, how can you tell what's going on in that film? Did you see the scene where they cut around while they're talking about something at the restaurant and it cuts every half second? Your brain is so muddled by the end of that scene that anything else they address after that, there's no way you're processing it.
So you didn't like that film?
No.
Oh, okay. I did.
But I'm just not big on Queen.
Okay.
Okay, you know what, Andy? I'm going to say the most controversial thing I will ever say on the show.
That's not true. You've already done that.
No. This is worse.
Okay.
I guarantee you this is worse.
Okay.
I think Bohemian Rhapsody is a bad song.
There's a lot of people that don't like it, so.
And they're the ones who should be voting.
I mean, that's part of my childhood too. In the 70s, and that film or that song was really big, and
yeah.
I
do like "Don't Stop Me Now." That's fun.
I thought it was great when Wayne's World brought it back, and it had a whole different life then in the 90s, and I thought it was cool that happened.
Yeah. I just thought the movie was, man, the editing's just bad. I'm sorry.
I like Rami Malek in that. I like Mike Myers' cameo in that too, which is even
I forgot
better.
about that.
Yeah, he's got one of the best parts in that. I like that film and I did like Queen. I like the music for it. I like how that story was told, even though it seemed to be kind of out of sequence at some points.
Yeah, I think they talked about that. They were just like, it just worked better that way for the flow of the movie.
I still like that film. Yeah. I like that more than I did Rocket Man. The Elton John one.
Yeah, I didn't.
Well, it's funny. I saw Rocket Man here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and watching people walk out of it when it started to delve into the gay area was pretty funny because how did you not know exactly
Look
that
at
he
Elton
was
John for 2 seconds,
right?
And if you have never come across the concept of homosexuality, you go, that man's different.
Yeah.
Oh, well, people are always shocked by things they don't know. I, for one, have started to learn less and less about people whose art I like because, boy, there are some kooks out there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I'm meeting Weird Al this weekend. Tomorrow I go out to...
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. And by meeting, I mean I'm running the photo op that he's doing at the Comic-Con, so I probably won't get to talk to him very much. But yeah, like I'm so terrified that I'm just gonna hear something that puts me off of him because Weird Al is the biggest influence on my childhood and my sense of humor.
Too bad you don't have like the UHF Blu-ray or something.
I wish I did. I wish I did. My wife and I we listen to Albuquerque weekly. We love Albuquerque. And one of the things that we talked about doing, we just didn't have the time, is to go up there and we're going to have snacks for ourselves, obviously. We're working all day with basically
right.
breaks. And so we're going to... What I was thinking is, I could go over to the snack box and be like, Mr. Yankovic, do you want anything? And if he goes, no, that's okay. I would go, oh, that's all right. Because all we had left was a box of a dozen starving, crazed weasels. And turn around with a box with little finger puppets that looked like little weasels popping out. You go, you don't want weasels on your face. And if you know Albuquerque, that's a very funny joke.
That is.
Unfortunately, we didn't have time. But I would have loved to do that. I don't know if it would be annoying or cute, but... Either way, it would have made me laugh.
From the knowing or knowing a little bit about him from the type of person he is, he probably would have found that very funny.
Yeah. I've got other jokes, but I don't want to spoil them here.
Okay.
What if Weird Al listens to this before I get there?
I doubt that.
It's fine. I didn't want to have dreams anyway.
Be nice.
To Weird Al, I will. To you, never. After what you just did, after you broke my heart. What if Weird Al did like
stomped
this?
on it?
Yeah. The joy in your eyes.
That's right.
It's worth it. The new Karate Kid movie, it wrapped production last month. It's going to blend the Cobra Kai universe and the reboot universe together.
Yep.
And I think there wasn't really anything that... Jackie Chan's character was called Mr. Miyagi, wasn't he?
Well, Jackie Chan's not the original Miyagi.
Right.
Like, that's Pat Morita, who has now passed away. And Jackie Chan was Miyagi in the one with Will Smith's son.
Right, but is it the same... what I'm saying is, like, they're not saying that Jackie Chan is the Miyagi that Pat Morita was, right? It's like, that's a reboot, so it's a different universe.
He hasn't been in Cobra Kai, so I don't know how they're going to do that. But,
like, it'll be weird if Daniel shows up and goes, Mr. Miyagi, and Jackie Chan's like, oh, I'm in a tuxedo, I'm doing karate, woo. You know, like, sorry, that was Robin Williams doing Jackie Chan. No, I'm wrong. That was me doing Robin Williams doing Jackie Chan.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. It'll be. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
It's, I don't know.
I do like that show. That's one of the things I look forward to on Netflix.
I couldn't get through like the first half of season 2. I was just like, this is so cheesy and hokey.
It is, but it's still, to me, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I think it's cheesy and hokey in the way that 80s movies were.
Yeah,
and I don't like The Breakfast Club, and yeah, I know.
Are you?
I know. I hate Bohemian Rhapsody, and I think The Breakfast Club is overrated. And that's it. The show's canceled.
I'm done. I'm out.
Maybe I was just in a bad mood when I watched it. I'll admit it wasn't a great time, but
I still like that movie. Yeah. I don't get tired of watching that.
I was tired of watching it the first time. I'm willing to admit that I may have a different opinion of it now. I'm in a better place in my life now than I was.
Then you should try and watch that again.
But if I go and watch it again and I don't like it now, what does that mean?
That your taste in movies is horrible.
Of course. It always comes back to me being an idiot.
Yeah. That's the scapegoat I can always use with you.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
Speaking of idiotic things, did you ever see The Old Guard?
The Charlize Theron thing on Netflix? Yeah,
yes.
and that's got a sequel coming too.
What did you think of that movie?
I didn't like it.
I thought it was crap.
Yeah.
Like, is it poorly executed? Not really, but it's also kind of crap.
It's just kind of a stupid story.
I didn't like it, and I thought it was boring, and the action was all right. You know, like, it was fun.
The one that Chris Hemsworth did, I thought was better.
Extraction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I need to see the second one.
Directed by a stuntman. That's why it's fun.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Charlize Theron said that the sequel's going to be coming out soon, The Old Guard 2. She said Netflix went through quite a changeover. We got kind of stuck in that, and our post-production shut down 5 weeks into it. There were a lot of changes, and I totally understand it. We finally picked it back up, and I'm really excited about it. It's really good. It's a really important film to us. I only wanted to do it if we could make it amazing. I really love this movie, which is, of course, marketing speak to some degree. Maybe she really does think it's an important story.
Yeah, and how much did she get paid to say that?
I don't think there's ever enough money in the world to say that The Old Guard is a really important film to you if you don't mean it. I'm wrong.
I'm sure there is a money figure that comes with that.
$20. I'm very, very poor. Speaking of people coming back to the well for money, the Russo brothers are now in talks to helm the next 2 Avengers movies. So they had some real misses. Did you see The Gray Man?
The what?
The Gray Man.
No.
It was a Chris Evans, not Chris Hemsworth. It was a Chris Evans movie on Netflix. I think the Russo brothers, like, they signed a deal with Netflix to make some stuff.
Yeah.
And they did The Gray Man, which was like, it was Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, and then Ana de Armas. I forgot she was in that. And it's like fine, but it's not it's not interesting. And like it's trying to act like it's a thriller, but it's not.
So it's most of Netflix's films.
Yeah, it just was, and it was so weird because they were like talking about how they really wanted to do this one and like how it was completely different from the Avengers movies and stuff. I'm like, maybe you guys work better in the machine.
Once again, how much did you get paid?
A lot.
Right.
They also did Cherry with Tom Holland, and I never saw that. But it by all accounts is like
Cherry?
Yeah, it's where he comes back from war and he's a war guy, and then he robs some banks, I think, or something.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
That one was pretty good.
Oh, you did see it. Sorry. Okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't see that. The Gray Man was kind of me. They produced Everything Everywhere All at Once.
See that, and that's the most polarizing film in my house because
is it really?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I like Asian influence films like that, and I thought it was done very well. My wife absolutely hated it.
Really?
Like she does not want to see that film ever again.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
It is a lot, but I really do like that film. I think Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis are fantastic, and the kid from
Ke Huy Quan. I liked him. I hated Jamie Lee Curtis in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It was just okay. I shouldn't say I hated her. I don't know. It just seemed like she was phoning it into me, and then she won an Academy Award for it. I'm like, she's done way better work than this. What are you guys talking about?
What, like Halloween?
Yeah, or literally anything else. She should have won a Freaky Friday. Are you kidding me? I look like the Crypt Keeper is the best line read I've ever heard.
And she's
we
working
talked about
on a
that.
second one.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
If they don't mention the Crypt Keeper, I'll be very sad. That was the first time I ever heard the word crypt, and I was like, what does that mean? I totally get what she's saying, but I have no idea what that means.
See, I like Tales from the Crypt when that was on HBO.
Yeah, I never saw it.
That's not a shock. You were probably, 2 when that came out?
Still am. So they were producers on, and Joe Russo helped write Extraction and Extraction 2 as well. Either helped write or wrote it entirely. Nope, he completely wrote them.
Yeah, because like I said, I haven't seen the second one yet. First one was good. I thought that one was better than most of the Netflix stuff that they were releasing.
And then they're doing The Electric State, which is coming up, written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who have done, Avengers game and Endgame and stuff like that. And this one is, it's based on a graphic novel, stars Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt.
You lost me right there.
Ke Huy Quan's in it. Stanley Tucci. Man, the Tooch. Sometimes he's perfect. Like in
Devil Wears Prada.
Devil Wears Prada. But my favorite Tucci performance is in
Beethoven?
No, what's the one with Tom Hanks and he's in an airport?
Oh, The Terminal.
The Terminal.
Yeah.
I love him in The Terminal. That was the first place I saw the Tooch. And I was a Tooch fan. And then I saw Transformers and I was like, Tucci, how far you fallen? And then but then I was like, you know what? At least he was still fun in it, and he committed to the pill. You know, like you have to be a certain level of performer to sell that crap.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, still respect for the Tooch though, right? You know. and then I saw him getting completely sozzled as Merlin in the fifth one, and I went, all right, you've lost the Tooch. And yes, I said all that just to get there.
Okay.
But yeah, so they're doing that. But yeah, apparently they're in talks to do the next couple of Avengers films. They're not completely signed on yet. Marvel apparently is still talking with some other people. I mean, they've had trouble. The King Dynasty and Secret Wars losing Jonathan Majors because of all of the
legal issues.
The legal issues where he allegedly was beating a woman. I don't know if he's been necessarily cleared of that at this point or not. I can't remember.
Legally, yes. Public eye and public opinion, no.
You can almost never get that back.
No, nope. And that's
unless Amber Heard takes a dump on your pillow, and then you can ride that crap all the way to the bank.
Literally,
yes.
Or maybe she should just be forced to watch Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage.
Poetic justice.
Which is 99 cents on Amazon streaming to buy.
Wow, what a ripoff.
It's almost like the reason why I went to see Jason X in the theaters. Is because it was playing at a dollar theater. Yes, I paid the $1 to see probably the worst movie in history. But at least with that, I know it's a bad movie going in.
Yeah.
And I sit there and just laugh the entire time. So it's really a comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an unintentional comedy, and sometimes those are the best.
I get
Mystery
that.
Science Theater 3000 is completely based on that idea.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's and I like Mystery Science 3000, the movie.
Is that the one where, was that after they got Patton Oswalt involved?
No,
what am I thinking?
because the movie they did for that was This Island Earth.
Right, yeah.
And the movie's hysterical. It's just a big screen version of the TV show, but it's still some of the stuff in that is really funny.
Man, you want to sit there and just watch writers go nuts. Those are the movies for it. It really is.
They come up with good material for that. I give them credit.
It's so good. And people don't understand how hard it is to do that.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're so good, and the deliveries are great, and the little laughs back and forth, and the messing with each other, and if you haven't ever seen Mystery Science Theater 3000, it's people watching a movie and talking during the movie, and it's fantastic. It's just old sci-fi flicks and stuff.
50s and 60s sci-fi films, horror films.
They make the most boring movies you've ever seen.
Interesting.
Some of the best movies you've ever seen. Yeah. Oh, boy. But yeah, apparently the director, Destin Daniel Cretton, was originally attached to the Avengers movies. He did Shang-Chi and the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I hope I said that right. I don't know.
I say Shang-Chi, so.
Yeah. Well, he departed. It was said that potentially Sean Levy, who directed Deadpool and Wolverine, and I think Deadpool
Night at
2,
the Museum.
Night at the Museum. He also directs a lot of episodes of Stranger Things and is a producer on that with the Duffer Brothers.
Pretty sure he did Austin Powers.
Did he really?
I think.
I always forget how much Sean Levy has done in his life.
He's done a lot.
He still looks like he's 35 with just like the man's 900 years old, and that adrenochrome is working. Yep. I tell you. No, he's born in 1968. He's as old as my dad?
He's just a little bit older than me. Not by much. By 2 years.
Papa?
No.
I'm just kidding. Don't you dare imprint on me. Just in Time, Big Fat Liar, Just Married, Cheaper by the Dozen, The Pink Panther. Oh, man, The Pink Panther was a staple in my household.
That movie sucks.
You are correct.
But the second one's even worse.
It's very, very funny to say, good one. Just every now and then. Hannah and I do that.
That's.
I don't know if she knows I'm referencing that movie, but yeah, good one. And yeah. He did the Night at the Museum movies. Date Night? Oh, he did Date Night? Date Night's great. Oh, he did Real Steel.
I liked Real Steel.
We have very different opinions on those two movies. Date Night's fun, man. Tina Fey's great. Date Night's
okay.
Oh, okay.
It's not as good as everybody made it out to be, I thought.
I thought that, and I didn't see it until, because it came out in 2010. I didn't see it until 2017 or 2018. And so by that point, it was dated.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, they're still making actual jokes. That's fun. But he didn't do Deadpool 2, but he did do Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, he's not doing it.
Okay.
So that was what that tangent was about.
Okay.
Let's see. Other than that, Glenn Powell's going to be in the Running Man remake that Edgar Wright's doing. Apparently,
which I'm excited for.
Apparently, he called and said, I made an 11th hour call to Edgar and begged him to be in the movie. And so that's how he got into it.
Well, because Edgar's going more on how the book was, not the Schwarzenegger film. Yeah. And the book is very different from what ended up being the first shot at that.
You're telling me that an Arnold Schwarzenegger adaptation of a book was not accurate?
No, it wasn't.
Blasphemy. Yeah, I don't know that much about the story. I've never seen the movie, and I haven't read the book. Well,
it's a short story that was written by Stephen King under Richard Bachman. And the actual book is people that volunteered to be on the show. The Schwarzenegger film was they took prisoners and put them in this and made the pretense that if they survived, then they got a pardon and got to live. But underneath that, nobody ever lived.
Gotcha. So it was gamer rules.
It was an execution pretty much for these people that were
fun.
Fun
execution.
Right. But then Schwarzenegger's character in the original one was a disgraced soldier that ended up going to prison that ends up on the show. And none of that is in the book at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm excited to see. And I like Edgar Wright.
I do too. Yeah.
A lot.
I still haven't gotten to see Last Night in Soho, but I've seen all of his other movies.
I think I'm the only person that liked it.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. I was really shocked. I mean, Baby Driver's man. A masterclass in editing.
It is
a masterclass, and it is the sound design and the music choice, and like you can feel the love in every second of that.
Right.
And man, I just love that movie.
Yeah, no, I do too. It's a good one.
Sorry, I thought I had something profound to say there.
But I also I like the TV show that he did, Spaced.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
That's Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and Edgar.
That's right. Yeah,
that's
that was
how
where
they
he
all started.
Yeah.
Right. And the one episode, you can see where they got the inspiration to do Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
And what it is Simon Pegg's character is up all night doing speed and playing Resident Evil, goes to like this art exhibition and sees them as zombies and starts punching people out. The episode is hilarious.
That's great. Okay, yeah, I need to go. I need to go watch that.
The first season's really good. The second season actually gets a lot more serious than I think it needed to be, but it's still really good.
Okay, yeah. I'm definitely gonna check that out. I love Edgar Wright stuff, and he's one of those directors who just has a unique voice.
Yes.
Which is something like Twisters. You don't really feel, in the same way. It doesn't have that unique voice.
The
and I'm not saying that means that the director of Twisters is a bad director.
No.
Sometimes what you need is a director who can follow and make something work with other things. You don't get Edgar Wright to do that. For instance, that's why he got kicked out of Ant-Man, because he wanted to make an Edgar Wright movie. They didn't want to make it. They wanted to make a Marvel movie. He wanted to make an Edgar Wright movie.
I wish they would have kept him.
Oh, they were wrong and stupid. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Ant-Man's one of the weakest points of... I did not like that movie
With the first one?
The first one, I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like the second one very much either. The villain is just boring and bad in the way that they use it. And then
Quantumania is...
I have never even bothered to watch it.
It's okay at best.
Yeah. I love Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
That ageless vampire of a man. I love him. But also like the Baskin Robbins stuff is just like... I'm laughing, but I'm also just sitting there going, okay, we get it. You got sponsorships.
Yeah.
I hate when people shove that in your face. Anyway, this podcast is brought to you by the Grand Avenue Theater and Solar Flight Productions, and both of those are good places. I'm sorry, I interrupted you for my joke.
No, I like the fact that Paul Rudd actually got to start in one of the Halloween films, and it's one of the worst ones ever.
Yeah. That shows you that you really can... A turd cannot be polished, but a piece of corn pulled from the turd can still be recovered and enjoyed.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the grossest thing I've said all day.
Yeah, it is. That's disgusting.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, how do you feel about Glenn Powell being in that though? Do you think
I'm fine with that?
Yeah.
I think he'll, remembering what the book was like, I think he's actually good for it because it's not a Schwarzenegger type person that was supposed to be in that role. It was just supposed to be a common man. So that's a good choice.
Hold on. How is Glenn Powell in any way a common man? I mean, he's not Austrian, so I guess he's normal.
It's not Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Fair
so.
enough. But I mean, Glenn Powell was injected with like beauty cream his whole life.
Yeah, but like the character in the book for the Running Man is just a normal guy.
I know we need someone uglier.
I'll volunteer to do it.
No, we need someone uglier.
Oh,
you're too pretty. That's what I'm trying to tell. I was trying to pay you a compliment. It didn't work right.
Well,
you and Glenn Powell could talk about it over lunch. You two best buds. You two beautiful men.
No.
Okay, last bit of news. Jermaine Clement from the Flight of the Conchords and What We Do in the Shadows. He was great in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yep.
And he produces on the show along with Taika Waititi. He has joined the cast of Megan 2.0. Megan 2.0. Megan 2.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's joined the cast. I didn't look any more into it past the thing, but I just was like, I'll watch it for Jermaine Clement.
Yeah, like I watched the first one's actually not as bad as you would think.
I liked it.
I did too.
I think it's dumb.
It is, and it's really funny.
Yeah, it's way funnier than I thought.
But I think that's why I liked it.
Yeah, because it knew what it was.
It didn't take itself very seriously at all.
Yeah, and I mean, a little girl doll being creepy and dancing before she kills someone. Does it make any sense? No. I don't care. I don't care at all. It's funny.
Or when she pushed the little boy in front of the truck.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're sitting laughing at that scene too, which is wrong.
Because we know he's fine. He's fine. And even if he's not, they could just recast him, so it's fine.
But even the part of dialogue that I was on the floor laughing at was when the creator tells her, "But you're starting to kill people," and she's like, "Oh, so I killed a couple of people. Big whoop."
Yeah. And you're like, "Hey, they stole my line." From your time in New York. Yeah, no, I like that movie. It's a dumb, fun popcorn
goofy
flick. And
well, same thing as Five Nights at Freddy's.
Still haven't seen that. I probably never will.
It's not bad.
It's just not one of those things.
It's
that I
not
would
Willy's
go
Wonderland, but
see, now that I might actually watch simply because there's no way it's any good. And
it's not.
Man, we should do like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 style thing, but just like with modern movies.
Yeah,
and we just put out the audio, and you give them a sync point and be like, there it is. All right.
So you can pretty much pick any Nicolas Cage film that he's done over the last couple of years.
I would do a Nicolas Cage themed podcast in a heartbeat, but I'm sure there's 900 other people who've done that.
Although he's the bad guy in Long Legs.
Yes, and apparently
he's very
creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also in the movie, he's very creepy. Just kidding, Nick. You're a gem. We're on first name basis.
So the other deaths, too, before we get wrapped up here, Richard Simmons died.
Right.
So my question to that, too, is so now with him out of the way, is Pauly Shore going to be able to make the movie that he wants to make about him?
Yeah, he'll just say that it's about someone named... Richardson Simmonsville, and be like, it's not a biography. I'm Pauly Shore, and then it'll be fine.
Shannon Doherty passing away too. That was
that's
right.
Sad. Yeah. She was only 55. She was young.
53. Yeah. She had.
Sorry,
but she was battling breast cancer for quite a while.
Oh, I had no idea.
And I love her in Mallrats because I like Kevin Smith films.
I haven't seen Mallrats.
Once again, not a shock.
I know. I need to see all the movies. Everyone's talking about these movies, and they're good. But I'm just afraid I'll be disappointed.
Well, the Edgar Wright thing. Have you seen the Coronado trilogy?
Yes, and I love them. I love them dearly.
My goodness. World's End, I think, is fantastic too.
You know what's funny? That's my least favorite of them, but it's the only one I've only seen once. I need to go rewatch it.
But it's got the best soundtrack.
Yes.
Because I own the soundtrack to that. I love it. Any soundtrack that has the Sisters of Mercy in it, that's good for me.
That seems like a deep cut. I don't know if it is or not, but it seems like a deep cut.
It's not, because that's the song from Sisters in that film is This Corrosion, which was probably their most popular song.
Okay. Yeah. I was looking up to see if there were any more. Oh, Shelley Duvall passed a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think we never talked about that.
Shining.
She didn't even look like the same person.
No.
In her 70s.
No.
Man, it was. I saw a picture of her. I was like, that's crazy.
One of my favorite Steve Martin films that she was into, Roxanne. Really like that film.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I haven't seen Roxanne in a long time.
I like the source on that, the story of Cyrano de Bergerac. I absolutely love that story, and modernizing it for Roxanne, I think, was just beautiful.
Dr. Ruth died as well.
Yep, I forgot about that.
I have to talk about this for a second.
Go ahead.
It has nothing to do with the fact that she was a groundbreaking intimacy therapist. That's not the word they used on here, but I don't know if kids are listening. And we're just talking about just a handshake. But she was a handshake therapist. And that's it. That's how I'm going to reference those scenes. There's a handshake scene.
Well, the euphemism they use on the cruise ships is having ice cream.
Ice cream. Yes. The captain can't come to the boat right now. He's having ice cream.
Right.
We're all having ice cream because there's a dang it, iceberg. Couldn't remember the word. Ruined the joke. Yeah, so Dr. Ruth, I knew of her first because of a show called Between the Lions.
Okay.
And it's a PBS kids show. It's about reading. And Dr. Ruth would show up, and we thought she was just this very, very,
Really?
very fun little cute, German lady who would come and teach you about letters or something. And then as a teenager, I found out what she was famous for, and I was like, not my Dr. Ruth. She did focus on the letters S and X a lot, and I think she might have covered a vowel in there as either an A or an E. Yeah. Rest in peace, Dr. Ruth.
Yeah.
She was 96 when she passed away.
Wow.
Yeah, that is crazy. Bon Jovi's mother died. Someone from Oak Ridge Boys, Joe Bonzal.
Okay.
Yeah, we've lost some people. That's for sure.
Yeah.
John Belushi's widow passed away. Oh gosh, comedian Tony Knight dies from falling tree branch at 54. I don't know who he is, but that sucks.
Wow.
Yeah. This is the most depressing webpage I've been on all day.
Don't look up.
Bill Cobbs from The Bodyguard, and he was in Ninth Museum. He was one of the old guards.
Oh yeah, he's a Demolition Man.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a big Color Money too. He's in that. So
That's right.
he's the pool hall owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of films.
This is the worst. This is the worst webpage I've ever been on, and Entertainment Weekly.
Depressing, too.
Ashamed of themselves for even.
Why do you do this to yourself?
You know what it was? Earlier I was having fun, and then I remembered I'm not allowed to do that.
Oh.
Or have a Klondike bar. So then we brought it.
I have to go with the no sugar added Klondike bars.
Yeah.
So that's where I go.
Alrighty, well,
Right.
I think that'll do it for us this
Yeah.
week. Hey, we just want to say thanks for listening,
Yes, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it.
and share this around with your friends. It's the biggest compliment you can give us is to tell someone else about the show and introduce them to it, and just let them know it takes a couple episodes to get used to us, but eventually, Stockholm syndrome sets in and they'll like it.
We grow on you like a fungus.
Yeah, I'm a fun guy. You're a fun guy. Together, we're a fungus. Good Lord. We should not record this late.
It's all good.
You can find us online at Grand Review Pod on Instagram and Facebook. Let us know what you think. We'd love to read out other people's comments. So
Absolutely.
if you see a movie, send us a message or comment on one of our episodes. Let us know what you think about it, and give us a review, 5-star preferable on Apple Podcasts and other things. It helps kind of boost those numbers and get us suggested. So if you want more of this, sharing it around is the best way to kind of make sure it keeps happening. And if you want less of this,
too bad
you're not here at this point. So you know what?
We're gonna do this too just to annoy you.
We're gonna do it anyway. That's right. Exactly. And if you hate us, well, brother, I hope you wake up with a snail on your face, and that confuses you for the rest of your life. That's the worst thing I can curse someone with, because I believe in forgiveness. But the snail thing, I think God will let me get by with that one. Can you imagine how confused you'd be if you woke up and there was just a snail on your face? How did he get there? Why is he there?
Okay.
And then you gotta pop him off of your face. That would confuse and haunt you for the rest of your life. And so that's what I wish on people who hate.
Okay. On that note,
We hope you don't get a snail on your face.
Yes.
And we will see you at the movies.
Take care, folks.
Bye.